Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. Today we are revisiting a series that I started way back in the summer, which is a shelf spotlight of different words in titles. I got the urge one day to kind of go through my shelves and see how many books I had with different words in the title. Turns out I have a lot of books with repeating words in titles because I have a lot of books on my shelves in general. Today we're going to be talking about books with the word night in the title. This is the next one on the list. I'm kind of skipping over Girl and Sister and Orphan. Orphan because I've talked about before, and Girl and Sister because I've recently, within the last few months, been unhauling like crazy, and a number of those books got unhauled. Even this category of night started out with 15 books, but one of them I read and two others I unhauled, so we are down to 12, which makes it the next largest number of books. So when I first started this project, I had you guys guessing, what do you think is going to be the word that I have the most books for? And many of you guessed, and we're down to 1, 2, 3 more after today. So I would like to do these all before the end of the year, where I highlight these books and kind of wrap up this little mini series of my shelf spotlights. So today we're going to talk about books that have the word night in the title. I do have 3 that I found that I've already read. I had another one, but I think I sold it on Pango. But they are The Night Diary by Veera Hiranandani. This is a fantastic middle grade about the time when India and Pakistan separated, and Muslims were on one side and Hindus were on the other, and this family that kind of gets caught in the middle. Fantastic middle grade. Absolutely loved it. A memoir, Night by Elie Wiesel. I'm probably saying that horribly wrong. He was a winner of a Pulitzer Prize, which is fantastic. Hard book to read, as he is a child during the Holocaust and goes to a concentration camp with his father. Very realistic about emotions and feelings that he has during that time. Oof, it was a doozy in this little itty bitty tiny book. So good. And the third one, I'm kind of fudging because it's Nightingale, but Night is in there. And this is by Kristin Hannah, and it's really good. It's really good. This was my first ever Kristin Hannah, and it's a chunker book, but it flew by. We follow 2 sisters during World War II. One of them gets involved with the resistance, and the other has to billet. A German soldier comes and billets in her home, kind of takes over. And so they're very 2 different roles, but talking about women during the war and the sisterly relationship as well. So good. Have your tissues ready. If you haven't read it yet, though, I would highly recommend it. And then I have 12 books, like I said, of TBR books. Books that have made the cut. They're still on my shelves, but I haven't read them. And they all have night in the title. So I'm going to give like quick synopses of them. I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Some of them I don't even know very well. They're not in any particular order. They're just what I listed on my on my document. So the first one I have is Midnight at the Bright Ideas Bookstore by Matthew Sullivan. I have heard some mixed things about this, so I'm not positive I'm going to love this one. But it takes place at a bookstore, and there's a little bit of a mystery involved. In reading the back, I'm not sure that this is a book I even want to read now that I think about it. It's about this young woman who's kind of ordered her life really well, Lydia, and she works as a clerk at a bookstore. There's a trigger warning for suicide in this, and Lydia is the one who finds this person, and there's a connection between the two of them. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty heavy-duty read. If you've read this one, let me know if you think this is a Krista book or not. I'm kind of going to put this aside. This might get into my next unhaul pile. I'm not sure. Then we have one that I found on Book Outlet that I never had heard anyone talk about, but I just couldn't resist this cover. It's What the Night Sings by Vesper Stamper. This is a World War II novel. I don't know if it's middle grade or YA. There are some illustrations, both larger page illustrations, but also some that are just partial page illustrations. Yeah, so it's just about a Jewish girl who plays the viola during World War II. So a typical probably story, but I don't know. Is it good? Is it not? I haven't looked up ratings for this in quite a while. I just love the cover, and I love that it has illustrations. Have any of you read this one? Next up, I have Sisters of Night and Fog by Erica Roebuck. This was gifted to me in my Christmas book exchange by Lindsay, I want to say. or Sarah. I think this was a Sarah card. Another World War II historical fiction. We follow two women, a British teacher or a British secret agent and an American teacher. And they both have these stunning acts of courage and they collide in the darkest hours of World War II. Let me know if you've read this one. Next up, I have one by Jennifer Robson, Our Darkest Night. I have read other books by her and really enjoyed them. This one takes place in Italy during World War II. And it says, to survive the Holocaust, a young Jewish woman must pose as a Christian farmer's wife in this unforgettable novel inspired by true events. That sounds amazing, but another World War II. So far, 3 of the 4 have been World War II books. And we're sticking with that path as we do Good Night from London by Jennifer Robson. This is also going to be a World War II historical fiction about an American journalist who gets like the job of her lifetime and gets to go to London to report about the war. But when she gets there, people are not very thrilled. Number 1, that she's an American. Number 2, that she's a woman. And she kind of has to put everything on the line for this job that she loves. Taking a different route though, we now have a Lucinda Riley book called The Midnight Rose. I can't get this sticker off. I need to bust out the big guns, the hair dryer to heat it up, and also my Goo Gone because I can't get that sticker off. It's starting to rip the cover. Anyways, I've read multiple books by Lucinda Riley and I really like her. This one spans actually 4 generations, from the glittering palaces of the Maharajas in India to the majestic stately homes of England. We follow the extraordinary life of a remarkable girl, Anahita Chaval, from 1911 to the present day. So, following the life of one, traveling from India to England, I feel like it's probably going to be very good. If it's anything like her other books. Then we have one I don't know anything about, The Night of Many Endings by Melissa Payne. I think I probably bought it because there's books on the cover. So predictable. I'm so predictable. This one takes place in a small town in Colorado, and we follow our main character, Nora, who was orphaned at a young age. I probably saw that at the first part of the blurb or the summary and immediately was like, okay, yes, books on the cover and about a young woman who was orphaned. She works at the library and tries to be a very positive person, struggling because she's kind of watching her brother fall into addiction, and getting to know some of the patrons of the library and some of the situations they're dealing with can be a little bit heavy. But I think something happens where a winter storm buries Silver Ridge. Yeah. And this collection of lonely hearts takes shelter in the library. I mean, I'm kind of here for that story. I have a middle grade, Goodnight, Mr. Tom, a classic by Michelle Magorian. This one is another one that takes place in World War II. We follow Willie, who lives in London with his single mom, and he's been abused in his life. I don't know if any of that is on page or not. But when the Blitz starts happening and the war ramps up, children are sent outside of London to live in the countryside, and he goes along with everyone else, and he gets to stay with this man named Uncle Tom, Mr. Tom. Excuse me, not Uncle Tom. That's a totally different book. Mr. Tom. And he just begins to open up and discovers a love that he's never known in his life so far. I think that sounds really good. And maybe is this the original, like, children sent out of London to this countryside? Because I've read quite a few books that have that as their premise. I have a nonfiction, The World's Last Night and Other Essays by C.S. Lewis. This is a teeny tiny little book. I wonder how many essays are in here. I love C.S. Lewis. I would love to read more of his nonfiction. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, wait. Deckled edges. Make it hard to turn pages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7. In this 122-page book, there are 7 essays. So I would definitely like to read more from C.S. Lewis. I really enjoy his writing, even if it takes me a minute to get into it sometimes. But yeah, that's one that I've never read before. A book that I've talked about because it's been on multiple TBRs this year, The Night We Burned by S.F. Kosa. I've heard from some people that it's not really a Krista book, but I'm still intrigued enough that I at least want to give it a try. This is about a woman who grew up in a cult, escaped, as a young woman becomes a journalist, and then something happens and she is the journalist assigned to this story, which is about the cult that she escaped from when she was little. So I'm still intrigued by that. I don't know much more than that, but we'll see. Then a book that I can't believe I haven't read yet, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. So many people have talked about this book. I think I'm going to love it. A dazzling novel about all the choices that go into a life well lived. I feel like it's a Krista book, but I haven't read it yet. And then finally, I have one last middle grade that I also need to work on getting that sticker off. The Midnight Children by Dan Gemeinhart. He's the author of Coyote Sunrise, The Remarkable Journey of Coyote Sunrise, which I loved. So I'm very eager to try something else by him to see if I will love it quite as much as that first one that I read by him. This has a very mysterious feel to it. In the dead of night, 7 mysterious kids with suitcases step out of the vehicle and into an abandoned home on a dead-end street, making sure they aren't noticed, but someone witnesses them. And he's eager to learn everything he can about them. What are they hiding? Why is this such a secret? I'm not sure what the mystery is. Where do these children come from? What are they doing there in this town? Very curious, very curious. So here's my stack of books that have night or midnight in the title. I would love to know if you've read any of these, if you think I could unhaul any of these, because you know I'm on an unhaul streak the last half of this year. And yeah, if you think I'm going to love any of them, I would love to chat about that down below. Or if you know of any other books that I didn't mention today that have night or midnight or nightingale in the title, I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching and spending a few minutes of your day with me. I can't wait to chat with you down in the comments. And if you want to just let me know that you were here, but you don't really have anything to say, go ahead and put a little moon emoji down in the comments just to let me know, hey, Krista, I watched your video today. And that's going to be it for me today. I look forward to chatting with you in another video very soon. Bye.